Hey traders, checking in on the stock market today. So a bit of a shift in correlation with how commodities and the markets have been interacting with each other. We saw a bit of divergence between our major sectors, and the Chinese names are getting crushed. We'll see if there's some opportunity there. Let's check out the charts. Before we hit the charts, we've got another free ebook here, and this one's about patience in trading. That's going to be the theme of the week. We've also got some video content I'm going to be posting on social media tomorrow about patience in trading. But this little free ebook has information and some examples to help us remain patient. It's the theme of the week. Link in the description of the video as well as the comments. Check it out. So for the S&P 500, and the theme for patience, again, a lot of people are looking for long-term entries, which is the right thing to do as far as a market is concerned, because every bad thing that's ever happened to a market has been a good buying opportunity. But when is the question? And we have to be patient when all of our trends in the short term are weak and in downtrends. So that is the theme. S&P 500 today, weak, looking at the low. We know the FOMC is Wednesday, and we know that Friday is quad witching, where a huge amount of options are going to be expiring. So we can anticipate the second half of this week is going to have volatility. The market is pricing in a rate raise of 25 to 50. And if we get anything different than that, the market did a bad job of pricing in that new information, and it will react very significantly if it's anything but 25 to 50. We then have to watch the market reaction to the comments going forward as far as what is the most likely scenario from here for the rest of the year. Are they going to dial it back and get more dovish and have less rate hikes? Are they going to stay the course? And at this point in time, we're going to be watching, do we enter the FOMC with bears in complete control for it to potentially be a sell the rumor, buy the news event? If we get the rate hike amount that is being priced in, do we bounce before the FOMC that then opens the door for either direction? I know I personally will be vast majority cash heading into the FOMC. I'm not trying to guess on directions. I'd rather miss Wednesday's trading and then trade the reaction or trade when the dust settles. That's me personally. I will be trading until then, but very nimbly. So looking at 415.12 as support, it's a double bottom with the low of today at the moment, and then the fear low of 410.64 is the only level from there. The daily downtrend continues, should say the only recent level from there. The bears are keeping their control. QQQ is leading the way down. It was weaker all day today, from pre-market till the bell rang and onward. And this morning, it was down over 1%, while XLF was up 2%, and healthcare was up 1.5%. That shifted throughout the day, but there was a point in time where they were very drastically different. And last week, we had a relationship between stocks and commodities where they were inverse, gold and oil and stocks, where if gold and oil were going up, stocks were going down. If there was a short-term bounce in stocks, gold and oil would go down. We are seeing weakness in metals and commodities in general while the stock market is staying weak. So we can say, yes, there was an inverse correlation, but it's now a bearish correlation for commodities, because commodities, if they kept that inverse correlation, would be trading up near the highs right now. And obviously that's not the case, which we will look at in just a moment. We also have a relationship shifting around. And for me, it's just positioning for the FOMC. To see QQQ so weak and our other sectors much stronger to start the day, that really wasn't happening to the degree that we saw it today last week. So again, there's a shuffling going around, capital flowing around, preparing for the FOMC reaction. But one thing is for sure, tech sector is weak and leading the way down. So QQQ hit fresh lows today, fresh fear lows. The extended hours low was 317.75, and we only broke that by 30 cents. So you can say that it's a double bottom at this point in time, but we pretty much are right there at that level right now. And we know that we need an hourly trend change for anything to shift. We formed a little hourly bear flag into the end of the day. And looking at the NASDAQ, one thing that's been very notable for me, every time I look at the 5-minute chart on a day like this, I think, okay, do I want to look for a bounce? And all I do is zoom out and look at the longer term time frames. And I look at the NASDAQ not oversold on the daily, not oversold on the 4-hour, and not oversold on the hourly. And the answer is no. I have no interest in playing a bounce, because my edge as a bounce trader is when things are extreme. and RSI levels are crushed on a bunch of time frames to be looking for a V-shaped bounce. But if you're not oversold on any of these longer term time frames, the bears can keep that control. It looks brutal on the 5 and 15 minute, but again, keep zooming out because that has prevented me from trying to be too aggressive playing bullish on bounces during this past couple of weeks. Pretty much I don't go aggressive unless we are at historical RSI levels that we have bounced from many times in the past, and we're not even close. So on the NASDAQ, any overnight bounce, we're just going to be looking for a 4-hour lower high, anything under 13,385, and the 4-hour downtrend will be our short-term guide on the futures charts. And the 10-year here was breaking out today, and Lori kept pointing that out as potential extra headwind on the tech sector. So that's something to be keeping an eye on. We had consolidation and then just an absolute V-shaped move into higher highs. And QQQ is a lead bear. SMH is even weaker than QQQ. We've known that much. So it's dropping down to fresh fear lows, daily lower highs as the result of every single bounce over the last month. Next time we bounce, if we don't break 255.68, the bulls don't prove a thing, and the bears keep their complete control. Support from here after 237.32. We're looking down. There's a gap here. 233.82 is a little gap level to be watching. Hourly downtrend, daily downtrend, they are our guides. If the lower highs keep coming, the bears have complete control. Again, I will be looking for longer term bullish entries, but not while we're in downtrends like this. Again, either extremes, I'll look for longer term entries if you give me absolute extremes, but in the absence of extremes, I'm not trying to look long, bigger picture, unless the daily chart starts to prove something to me. XLV, daily anything under 132.64 is a lower high. So again, we can see it started stronger, and it's an instance where all these other sectors were stronger than QQQ, but QQQ just dragged everything down. And by the later morning, these other strong sectors joined into the weakness and just unable to withstand the weakness that QQQ was seeing. So if the bears are going to take back over here, we know the bulls haven't proven anything. Again, go to the 2-day time frame to condense it down. And I'm essentially just viewing this as our buy the news low, top of the bounce, higher low. But if we do not break 132.64, the bulls don't prove a thing. Is this another lower high forming? Maybe. Key support is 127.47. This is one of our stronger major sectors as far as the big names that impact the S&P 500, but it's not proving much. Financial sector started strong. Daily EMA 12 resistance rejection, closed weak. Again, bulls in complete control of the morning, gave it all back as QQQ dragged everything down. And we look at the 2-day time frame, condense it down, just looking for a lower high to be the result of this bounce with tons of space for it to form. IWM, bear break of short-term support, next level 187.92. It's the only level nearby. IWM is holding on better than QQQ. It's holding on a bit better than SPY, but it's going to go down if those other sectors keep dropping as well. So again, another one, just go to the 2-day time frame. Low, fear by the news low, lower high, higher low, lower high, lower low, bears keeping short-term control. Simple statement, if 201.76 is resistance, bears are very comfortable on the daily chart. Biotech sector, leading the way down, already breaking to a fresh fear low, and watching for the potential of a falling wedge here. But again, this is just something I'm keeping a visual eye on, not acting on this at this point, as the bears have complete control. Hourly downtrend, weekly, daily downtrend, nothing changes as long as that remains the case. Gold is in a potential falling wedge, so we're scouting a daily higher low still. Hourly is a falling wedge I'm keeping an eye on. Not sure if I'll trade this falling wedge. It depends on how it looks tomorrow heading into the open. If we're still within this wedge, I'll be keeping an eye out for a bullish entry. But with the size of this pullback, weekly consolidation is underway. We're scouting a weekly higher low, but we're also going to scout a daily lower high to be the result of the next bounce because of how much we have pulled back at this point. And silver is the same thing, a big enough pullback that a daily lower high is the most likely scenario next time we bounce. Now the question for the metals is, can the bulls keep weekly consolidation healthy? Miners, daily downtrend confirmed on GDX. Zoom out, we scout a weekly higher low, again, tons of space. We're watching retracement size now. What is our retracement size going to be? Is it going to be a potential bull flag holding 382? At this point, that's still the case. Or do we see a significant leg down and we then create space for a weekly lower high? So that's the question over the next week or two as we keep an eye on these metals. And of course, the dollar and the metals are going to see a notable reaction to the FOMC as well. Oil is very similar, unable to put in a daily higher low yet. Big time bull move up, big time pullback. We're scouting a daily higher low compared to $90. 4-hour EMA 12 resistance, rejecting the price a bunch. Keeping an eye out for first 4-hour oversold conditions. Again, we had hourly oversold, mark a back burner bounce. And now we're watching for 4-hour oversold to scout a daily higher low. So keeping an eye out for oil and metals tomorrow to potentially try and shape up those daily higher lows. No idea if I'll trade them or not. I just know I'm scouting daily higher lows in those names. And we'll see where they stand tomorrow at 6 a.m. to see if I want them on my list for trading. As far as creating a list for trading, there are times where it's very easy. I know that I'm going to trade NIO tomorrow. I know that for a fact. I don't know the direction I'm going to trade it, but I know it has a setup right now with enough fear, enough emotion, enough lack of liquidity in new ranges, and enough volume that we're going to see significant movement in both directions. Today, we bounced 14% and then pulled back 11%. There was feasting opportunity for bulls and bears alike. And that's exactly what I want as a day trader. Give me huge ranges in both directions. And if you give me 10% plus ranges, I got plenty of opportunity to find my little piece of the pie that I want. And so that's what I'm looking in these Chinese names. And they are absolutely crushed. If you are looking at buying any of these Chinese names long, you have to write it off mentally as $0. It's either a generational opportunity or $0. And psychologically, it's important to have that mindset because we can always go lower than you think. And we are getting absolutely crushed. I'm scouting a volume climax this week. We can see BABA. Look at that volume today. So one of the highest volume days that we've seen recently and probably one of the highest share count volume days ever. But we closed near the low. BABA is one of the weaker names. RSI levels don't mean anything at this point. They're off the table. We are in falling knife free fall. Maximum fear. So BABA is a falling knife. We've got Baidu holding on stronger. Again, massive volume, but Baidu bulls at least have an hourly higher low set. So they're trying to shape up a trend change. As far as the EV space, NIO, again, weak, closing near the lows. If we gap down tomorrow, I'm looking to play a bounce just like today. I didn't play the morning bounce today. I actually shorted NIO, was my better trade today. Didn't feel like heading into the week with insane fear volatility. It obviously would have worked out to buy that dip. And other names, if you're trading any of these Chinese names, you got to watch the other ones because Baidu and Baba bottomed. Baidu, Baba bottomed 2 to 3 minutes before NIO did. There was a little bit of a clue there, and NIO acted as a laggard. And this is the 5-minute lower high. I made one attempt to make a bearish entry here, and I knew I didn't like it. So I just placed a break-even stop loss and fully anticipated I was going to stop out because this was a 15-minute higher low forming. So stopped out break-even and then patiently watched for a 5-minute lower high. Topped out at 1541, 1540, and as soon as we got that triple top at 1541 again, good to go. Top fish that level and entered 1534 and held it for a good bit. That was my best trade of the day. I also had a stop out break even of CCJ. I played the oversold bounce on the morning. My entry was 25.83. I sold half low 26s, put a break even stop. That's either our daily higher low and I nail it, or it's not and I stop out. And I stopped out break even there. But as far as NIO is concerned, you got XPEV, Chinese EV name that is stronger than NIO as far as trying to set an hourly high or low and has space to work with. Again, massive ranges. This was almost a 40% range. So if you want even more volatility, XPEV has it. Nah, 20%. Math wrong. 20% range. But then a big pullback as well. Plenty of opportunity in both directions. So let's see what these Chinese names give us over the next few days. And obviously there's huge headline risk, so I'm just looking to day trade them. Lock in some profits, be all cash, and see what we get tomorrow. I don't care what direction I'm trading it in. I like bounces, but we'll trade it bearish as well. And again, watching for a volume climax on the daily time frame sometime this week to put in at least a temporary bottom for a bounce to then be looking for daily lower highs. Yeah, we're going to scout daily bounces this week, but no sign of them yet. All right, feel free to ask any questions. Hope you're well. Check out the free Patience ebook and do good things. We'll see you tomorrow. This is the first flower scent in the yard. I forget what this is called, but it's good. These are the first tadpoles of the year. See, they're already big enough to be squirming around a bit in their eggs. Spending today clearing out all the brush. Just did this side, still got this side to do. Try and wait as long as possible because a bunch of bugs live in the hollowed out stems and overwinter in all that brush. So you don't want to do it too early because then you get rid of all your bugs and pollinators.